MOTOmattman. And today is a beautiful Tuesday morning. About 10:30 in the morning, and I still haven't changed the time of my clock on the VFR. I'm gonna have to do that. But anyway, it's about 10:30 in the morning, and it is a beautiful day. It's supposed to get warm today. It's supposed to be in the 90s today, but right now it's in the mid 70s, and it's a pretty daggum nice day today. Now I got a few things I want to talk about today. One I want to start off with has to do with your lane position for riding, and I know it's not a really exciting thing to talk about, but I have a reason for bringing it up. It was something that I observed from a rider when I was not on the bike. Actually, I was in the car getting ready to pull out of my driveway. So I want to bring that up to you guys and talk about that a little bit. I'll do that here shortly. I also want to talk about, I put out a video about the riots and the protesting and whatnot. And I'll be honest, I wasn't really surprised at the fact that I lost a handful of subscribers. I'll be honest, I don't get it. I don't really think that I was taking one side or the other in it. But I expected, and I think part of it is people are so used to everything being, like a 30-second news clip, and that's it. So they don't watch the whole thing. They listen to 30 seconds worth of my rambling and make a determination on what it is that I was actually talking about and what my position was, and then they turn it off and unsubscribe. And if that's the case, that's the case, because generally speaking, hell, in the first 30 seconds of my video, I don't necessarily know what the heck it is I'm talking about on a normal video. But anyway, back to what I wanted to talk about. And what I wanted to talk about was lane position. And what happened was, I was getting ready to pull out of my driveway, and I looked both ways to see if the coast was clear, and then had to slam on the brakes because I saw the bike. And the reason I saw the bike is because I will show you where he was riding. This is where he was riding all by himself, okay? Right along that white line, okay? And if you're riding in a group, yes, you should be staggered. The lead rider is over here by the yellow line, and the next rider in line should be closer to the white line. But after I get past this guardrail, I'll show you what the problem is with riding all the way to the right-hand side of the lane. See, I'm all the way over here. And by me hugging all the way over here, if there are any obstructions like that trash can or like trees, it makes it very, very difficult for that car or that other bike to see you. The other thing is by me riding here, which if you look at my videos, you'll always see me over here towards the yellow line. Sometimes do I drift over towards the middle? Yeah. But I tend to stay over here, and here's the reason why. If I'm riding along and a car is coming at me and doesn't see me and is over close to the line, I've got this whole lane over here that I can move over to. Okay? If I'm out on the highway and somebody goes to pass and they don't see me, I can move all the way over here. But if I'm all the way over to the right-hand side, I got nowhere to go. There are things, trees, bushes, mailboxes, trash cans, all kinds of stuff that makes it difficult to see. Now, one of the things that I don't get, and it's really a problem here, and out here in the country, it'd be hard to police, but in town, not so much. And that's when I lived in Virginia Beach, and even like in Raleigh, North Carolina, and outside of DC, there were ordinances that made it so your fence placement for your bushes and so forth had to be a certain distance from the road. Same thing with signage. And the reason for that was, especially if you're talking about, like, let's say a corner lot. Let's ride down this way a little way. Let's turn here and ride down. Go somewhere different. Do some exploring. But anyway, if you have a corner lot and you got your bushes all the way out at the corner, people can't see if they're pulling out. They just can't. It makes it a hazard. People can't see to be able to pull out, so they end up having to stick their front end out in the road, and people coming along can't see that there's somebody wanting to pull out. It makes it dangerous. But here, there's not anything like that. And while it's a hazard in town with the obstructions making it difficult to see, in town, in a neighborhood, or just in town, the speed limits are lower. Speed limits are 25, 35 miles an hour. Out here in the country, which is where everybody for the most part would prefer to ride, is out in the country. You're not just looking at house after house after house after building after building after building. And in most places, not necessarily in the country here, but in most places, that's where your twisty, curvy roads are that are the most fun to be on. But that's also where the speed limits are 45, 55, 60 miles an hour on back roads. So the reaction time of that person is cut down dramatically if you're hugging that white line there. You don't want to be over there. To be honest, another hazard with hugging that white line is, let me tell you something, the sand and gravel and glass and crap that's on the road, it all ends up over there on the shoulder of the road. It's not normally going to be in the middle of the road. So you don't want to be over there unless you have to be over there. It's really dangerous at night if you're driving on that little over there next to the white line, because it makes it even more difficult to be seen, even with your headlights on. Now, you know, it's technically illegal for an automobile to be driving around with one headlight. But typically, you're not going to get pulled over and get a ticket or anything if your passenger side headlight is burned out. Now, I don't know, that may be, well, I guess everything would be flipped. I was going to say, in places where you drive on the left-hand side of the road, like in the UK, the laws may be different, but your passenger side would be the other side of the car. And I don't know what the laws are there, so I can't speak on them anyway. But here in the States, it's illegal to just have one headlight, have one of them burned out. But you're typically not going to get stopped by a police officer for having a burned out headlight, provided that the headlight that's burned out is the one on the right side of the car. And the reason for that is oncoming traffic can still tell you're a car, because the headlight would be over here next to the yellow line, not over there next to the white line. Makes you more visible. You are way more visible being over here than all the way over to the right. Okay? And again, you got all the crap gets kicked over to that side of the road. Remember, a road is not flat. It's higher in the center than it is on the edges. And it's done that way for drainage. But it's not just drainage that becomes a thing. It's your gravel and sand and all of that crap is going to move over to the right side of the lane as well. Now, why not ride in the middle of the lane? Well, it's perfectly dry out today, so it's not as much of an issue. But if you notice, the middle of the lane is darker than the right side of the lane and the left side of the lane. And the reason for that is because the fact that the center of the car rides in that area. And that's where your oil pan is. That's where your transmission pan is, typically. All of that kind of crap, your rear end, if it's a rear wheel drive car or truck, that's where all that is. And guess what? That's where all the fluid is. Okay? Your radiator's in the center of the car. Now, why that's important is because if you've got a leak in your oil pan, if you've got a leak in your transmission pan, or your rear main seal, or your rear end, your differential, or your radiator, that's where it's going to leak. It's going to leak in the middle. Okay? So that's where the leak is going to be. So, if the leak is there, that's where all the oil is going to be deposited on the road, is in the center of the lane. Now, I mentioned it's dry out today. That means that hazard is less of an issue than if it rains. When it rains, especially at the beginning of a rainfall, that area is going to be super slick. Stay out of the center of the lane when it rains. Now, I know a lot of y'all know this already, and I'm not saying that anybody in particular doesn't know this, or that any of my viewers, any of them don't know it. What I'm saying is that I saw somebody doing that, riding on the right side of the lane, so I thought I'd have a little conversation about what part of the lane you want to ride in. The safest place is where I'm at. The next is over next to the white line when you're in a group situation. Now remember, when you're riding in a group, you don't want to be side by side, you don't want to be single file except when you're going around a turn, you know, around a curve. But you don't want to be single file. And the reason you want to be single file is not just for visibility, but if the rider in front of you goes down, you have absolutely zero time to react to it, and it will cause a chain reaction. Watch a MotoGP race and see what happens when a rider goes down and everybody is 1, 2, 3 right in a row behind him. That's why you stagger. You're also more visible when you stagger, but that's the purpose of staggering. And it's okay to ride on that right side of the lane. Be careful of the sand and the gravel and the crap like that, but it's okay to ride over there when you're riding in formation in a staggered formation. That's where the second rider, the fourth rider, the sixth rider, the even number riders, that's where they should be, is over to the right. The odd number riders should be over here to the left. Even number riders over to the right. I hope everybody understands what all this is. And also remember, when you're going around a turn, the same thing with the sand and the gravel. You know, if it's a banked curve, it's all going to be in the middle. Or if it's two lanes like this, it's going to be on the inside lane. You know, is where it's all going to be. So just be cognizant of that and make sure that you're paying attention. But anyhow, that's enough of my soapbox on that. Looks like somebody's out there practicing their baseball or softball. It is now officially tournament season. We had our first tournament this past weekend. and my daughter's team made it to the semifinals, and we lost in the semifinals. They had a good weekend. The game they lost in the semifinals, they lost with 2 outs, and the other team hit a walk-off. Not a walk-off home run, but an extra base hit that brought in multiple runners. And so they lost by 1. That team then lost in the finals to a team we had lost to earlier in the tournament. Don't really want to talk about a whole lot about it, not because I'm bitter that my daughter's team lost, but we had to play a team that's local to us. That the coaches and the parents are whiny and obnoxious. You know, they treat every game and every play of every game as though it's game 7 of the daggum World Series and their life is on the line. I mean, they complain and complain and complain and whine. And just not a big fan of that. And you know what? I don't know, but I think I took the wrong turn. I'm positive I took the wrong turn. Boy, that's not good. I do that all the time back there. I don't know why. Go down here, find somewhere to turn around. It's nice down here. Okay, looks like there's a road up here. Turn around at this road. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. What I did was I stayed on the road that I was on instead of turning off of the road onto the road that I want to be on. And if I do remember, this road gets, hopefully it's better this year, but it was crappy last year. Somebody's burning something. Gotta love it. Oh well. Like I said, it's a beautiful day. Well, one of the things too I wanted to talk about with the tournament was everybody seemed really relaxed about the COVID stuff, and while everybody was, you know, for the most part doing what they were supposed to do, people didn't seem to be stressing too much about it. The girls didn't have to wear like a mask to play in or a mask in the dugout or anything like that. We did have one umpire that went to all of the teams and made sure that only 5 girls were allowed in the dugout at a time, and made sure that everybody was aware of that. He was, in fairness to him, he was one of the few people that wore a mask as well. Most of the umpires did not wear masks. He did. So he may have been a little bit, he may be a healthcare professional. He may be a little bit more concerned about it than others. But it was a good experience. Everybody had a good time. It was good to be back at the ball field and playing games that mattered. That was great. The girls had a blast, which was the most important thing. They all had fun. So it felt like things were getting a little bit more back to normal. Now, one other thing I wanted to bring up, and this has nothing to do, this isn't being preachy, this is just being observant, okay? Yesterday we were at Walmart, and there were a couple of things that happened. Number one, we saw an older woman with a little kid. Kid was, I would have to say, like 8, maybe 7, 8 years old, little boy. And this woman and little boy had masks on. Sorta. They had them on, but they were walking around in the store with them below their chin. The mask was not covering their nose, was not covering their mouth. It was covering their neck and their chin. And I thought, you know, that's kind of useless. I don't get it. And we saw them walking back and forth. It wasn't just like at that moment. We saw them multiple times. Never did figure out what the deal was there. Now another thing that we had experience with, and that's, I don't know if all the Walmarts, I would imagine they're all doing it. But I don't know, you know, what the different things are in the different places. Oh, I do want to say real quick before I go into this, I do want to say congratulations, New Zealand. I saw that New Zealand was 100% completely and totally open up. No restrictions. Good job, Kiwis. Good job. But just don't let any of the punks come in bringing this stuff back onto your islands and having to close things back up. But good job. Congrats. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Did come across, Walmart has one-way lanes now, okay? So they've got little stickers on the floor that say do not enter or this way only, okay? And we were coming out of an aisle and I was pushing a buggy and there was a woman that stopped. It was going across, you know, cross traffic, I guess you could say. And she waved for me to go on, and I told her no, I'm turning the opposite direction of where you're standing. And she motioned to me that she wanted to come in the lane. I looked down at the little red sticker. Well, actually, it's a big red sticker. It's like 18 by 18 red sticker that says "Do not enter." I looked down at it, and she shrugged her shoulders, and she said, "Yeah, I know. I don't care. Doesn't really bother me. I want to go that way and I don't want to walk all the way around, so I won't go the wrong way. I don't care." And I thought, you know, seriously, you got these stickers, you know, it's a rule of the store, but it's not just a rule of the store, it's something that the governor and the head of the Ohio Department of Health has said that they really want is one-way, you know, aisles in the stores. Is it really that big a deal? Yeah. Are there times when I'm walking along, I'm like, oh shit, I want to get something from that aisle, and it's right there. It's 20 feet away. It's 30 feet away. Do I really, or it's halfway up the aisle. Do I really need to go all the way down the next aisle over and then come all the way back? Because, you know, every other aisle is, you know, the direction that you're capable of going. Really, I don't want to have to do that, but I do it anyway. Is it too much to ask? Whether you believe the coronavirus is going to get you or not, here's the deal. The person on that aisle that's following the rules is, number one, following the rules, and the rules are the rules. But number two, that person following the rules may be worried. Maybe there's somebody that is in that category of people that are at risk. Why make them uncomfortable? Why? Why not just follow the rules? Take the few extra steps. You know, just take the few extra steps, walk the few extra feet. You know, it might be good for you to walk the few extra feet. You know, a little bit of exercise. We've all been cooped up inside for, you know, 2.5 months. We were all cooped up inside, other than walking around your house and stuff. Taking that little walk may not be bad for you, may be good for you. Not gonna be mean, but I don't really think it would have hurt her. Would have probably done her some good. But anyway, that's enough of my yapping for the day. I hope everybody's having a great week, had a great weekend, having a great day. Hope the weather's cooperating with you, and hey, it's finally warm weather in North America. Which means, hey, it's riding season. You could have totally turned there, white truck. Could have totally made the turn. Especially since you were going to, as soon as I turned, you were going to climb up my butt. But anyway, hope everybody's having a great time. Getting out on 2 wheels, enjoying it. Again. Congrats to New Zealand. You Kiwis rock. Your government declared New Zealand COVID-19 free. Awesome. Great job. I know some of the stuff you had to go through sucked, but great job. Anyway, I think I'll end it here. If you like what you see, make sure you click that like and subscribe button. Punch that bell so you get notifications whenever I upload any new content. If you're able to get out on 2, make sure you keep the shiny side up and the rubber side down. And until next time, see ya!